the role of emotions in spiritual life. Each one of us has emotions. So, like all other things we have, we can use them in our spiritual evolution. Besides emotions, we have actions and we have thinking. So, we have to use our actions, our emotions and our thinking for our spiritual growth. Now, how do we use emotions for our spiritual growth? There are two ways to do this, or well, two things that we need to do. The first one is that today our emotions are rather restrictive. We feel, but we feel for a very small arena. Using our emotions for spiritual growth means that we are able to expand our emotions, expand our heart, feel for something much more. And as we cultivate more and more of these positive emotions, the negative emotions start reducing. As our heart expands in love, we will find emotions such as jealousy or anger or greed or arrogance. All these kind of things wane away. They are there only because of an absence of love. So, as the love, as the kindness, as the general benevolence in our heart grows, as our emotions purify, as we are able to include more and more people, more and more beings, wider and wider arena into our feelings, our emotions get purer and purer, finer and finer, better and better. This is the first part of using our emotions for spiritual growth. There is a second part. The second part is, as our emotions grow better and finer and nobler and subtler, we should still learn to keep them under our intellectual governance, under our own suzerainty, under our control. What does that mean? That means that when we perform an action, when we start doing something, that action or that doing or that behaving ought not to be propelled or pushed or generated by the emotion we are feeling, but by the objectivity, by the rationality, by the discrimination of our intellect. Because pure emotions can also get us into trouble. We just cannot afford to display our emotions indiscriminately. We cannot afford to express our love to everybody. It will only cause damage both to the other person as well as to ourselves. We have to do what is right, but we have to feel for everybody. For instance, if a robber comes into my house, I don't have to say, "Oh, you've come to my house, you're my guest, come have a meal with me. Here, I'm opening out my cupboards, you please help yourself to whatever you want." You can have universal affection, but what you do has to be the right thing. What according to you in that situation is the right thing to do, do that. So, how do you use your emotions for spiritual growth? First and foremost, you let them expand to include everybody, purify them. Negative emotions will disappear and loving emotions have to take their place, loving without boundaries. And the second part is, no matter how deep, how pure, how subtle the love is, the kindness is, you cannot afford to act on it. We always have to do what our head bids us is the right thing to do.